Peter, thanks for joining us ahead of Friday night's match. First of all, let's take a look back at the weekend, and we know how disappointed you were after the match against Partick Thistle. Given a few days to look over things and analyse everything, what do you take out of the match, and how do you feel that could only benefit you and the team going forward?
I think the benefit from it was exactly the way we seen it ourselves, and the same everybody else seen. We were very passive in what we did and everything. Our passing wasn't crisp enough. It wasn't forward often enough. And we got caught in possession. We weren't in good areas to receive possession. So all the things that the boys, to be fair to them, have been excellent, and the periods going past and the games going past. It just seemed to be one of the days on Saturday. Then the culmination of that period was the goals we conceded. Were very, very poor goals. Goals that we, as I said after the game, we'd already spoken about. So it was nothing that surprised us. The only surprise was the way we picked up, so that was a disappointing thing. So listen, we have the days, and that's part of obviously being a football player and remembering your duties during the game. And as I say, on a blackboard, it's easy. It's easy for me and the staff to sit on the blackboard, tell the players, this is your job, you go up here, you do this, you do that. But football's a moving game. You've got to understand where the space is and find the space and play with a purpose and a freedom. And as I said right from day one, you're here to excite people, not to bore them to tears. And I felt in the first period we played that way, very tentative and slow, and didn't play with that positivity that the boys have shown. And probably that was a more galling thing, because we have shown it 4 or 5 games now. And then all of a sudden, the last 2 games, as I said, we've been a bit more tentative, and that's probably been the biggest disappointment. But the players have seen it, they understand. And I think when they look back and when we show them it, they can't believe that some of the things and some of the choices they made, which is pleasing, because sometimes players are looking disbelief as if you don't know what you're talking about. But when it's as plain as it was at the weekend, I think it's very easy for everyone to see.
After the game, it was clear to see the natural disappointment in the players as well. If they came in this week and, from what you're saying, they've been able to pick themselves up and really get themselves going again.
Well, you know what it's like on Monday morning. It's a long weekend when you lose a game at football. So it's very, very difficult. And when you come back in again, you're still feeling sorry for yourself. But it's important you can't, because we'll move on. Football changes very quickly. The great thing about football, you get another chance and another opportunity. And that's what you've got to try and do. And you've got to make sure, as I say, you learn from your disappointments, of course. It's so important, but you've not to worry about them in the respect of that. I think it's so important to the way that we try to play. You have to play with the freedom. You have to be willing to make mistakes. You've got to be willing to make mistakes doing the right things. And that was probably the more galling things. It was too many things that was safe, too slow, all the things we said prior and all the things we've been working on constantly. And as I said, these boys have been a fantastic group. They've given us everything since they came in the door, so I can't complain about their attitude. Nobody could fault them for their effort and their commitment on Saturday. It was just a lack of quality and a lack of game understanding in the way we play. That was more disappointing than anything else. But as I say, no problems with the group that we have, because, as I say, they're a fantastic group of boys who give you maximum every single day.
In terms of Friday night's game, it was probably the toughest draw you could have got for the next round, but it's a great challenge for yourself and the players to go to Ibrox and to try and pull off a shock.
Well, we want to be going to places like this week in, week out. That's what this club's about. That's what this club was about, and we've got to try and get it back to there. So we want this to be making sure it's a weekly fixture, in the respect of that. You're going to the Pittodries, you're going to the Parkheads, you're going to the Ibroxes. That's what you want in your career as a footballer. You want to be playing at the top table, and that's what we're trying to achieve. To do that, you've got to put a hell of a lot of hard work to try and get there. And once you're there, you've got to go and embrace it. You've got to go and take it full on. And that's what we're looking to do. But it's a fantastic game for everyone. As I say, I think it's a proper cup tie. It's one of the ones, that you have to go and have a go to try and win the game of football. And cup ties are all about winning. That's what you do. And I've been there before when you've been the underdogs and won it. I went with Birmingham, we beat Arsenal in the cup final. So these things, are games, but you have to play well. It doesn't matter, and you want to embrace it. And you have to play at your maximum. You have to give everything you've got. Concentration levels have got to be massive. All the simple things, But I know I've got players that's capable of going and playing well. That's the pleasing thing for me. So we'll look after ourselves. That's the most important thing, that we've got to do ourselves justice and not worry about the opposition.
You could obviously argue that Rangers have maybe not hit the heights that they did last season and going through a tough period themselves, just coming off the back of a tough European game last night. Is that something that you feel you could take advantage of, playing them 3 days later and maybe when they're on a bit of a downer?
Now, you've got to remember, I played for Celtic, so it didn't last very long because you knew the next game you had to win again, and that's the pressure. You know, we're playing with a Celtic or a Rangers that you have to win every game and you have to play well in every game. That's the way it is, and that's the pressure you want to be playing in as a footballer, because that means you're playing with the top table and the top games and the big games. And we're no different. We want to try and do that, but listen, get into any game, you've got to be excited to go and play anywhere. You know, every week we turn up to work, we're the luckiest guys in the world. I keep saying that to you. We are the luckiest people in the world. It's the best game in the world, and get an opportunity to play in the big arenas with big support there is fantastic. You've got to go and embrace it. If you're frightened, if it's no use playing this game, because that's what you're trying to do. To win trophies, you have to play the best. You know, you have to do that. You have to beat the best. You have to win games of football, and you have to play well. But the biggest concentration for us is trusting ourselves, because I know if we play as well as we can do, we're more than capable of not worrying about going anywhere, you know. So, but we have to be at our best, as we proved. When we're not at our best, you can see what happened on Saturday.
As we discussed on Saturday post-match, Ryan Dow returned from injury, so that was a big boost for you. How are the team looking otherwise ahead of Rangers?
We've got a couple of knocks, but hopefully not too significant that they're going to miss the game. Enough to maybe put the reins on a little bit and a couple of them in training. But delighted to have Ryan back, because just his presence round about it, I mean, it's been a long time for him. We gave him a little bit of feel on Saturday, you know, because we've got to remember he's only just back to training. It's not as if he's been training for 6 months and he's fully fit, you know, and he's not had any games or whatever. So we've got to be very, very fair and very careful with him, you know. So, but he's a top talent, and I was always impressed with him when we played against him or watched games he was playing. He's got a great football intelligence, so he's got a great attitude to his game, you know, as well, you know. And as I say, he's one of the boys that's comfortable in possession of the ball, you know, knows what's expected of him in his role. And it's fantastic, as I say, to have him in the group. So we're absolutely chuffed that he's back on the training pitch, and that's nearly 10 days he's been training with us now, plus he's got a few minutes he got on Saturday, which I thought was important for him as well. So, yeah, no, he's very much in my thoughts, because he's a talented boy, and as I say, somebody I definitely think can affect the team.
The other lads that were making their way back, are they still all progressing nicely?
We're all getting there slowly. It is a slow process, because the bottom line is, the good thing is that we're going in the right direction. That's the biggest thing. Whereas I think they were a bit stagnant where they were, you know, they're either no progression. But to be fair, as I said to you last week about Karen, that's got them progressing really, really well. And we're delighted, you know, that the boys are seeing a wee bit of light at the end of the tunnel now, but that didn't seem to be the case for them. So they're getting closer and closer. Some of them are on the training pitch now. You know, Lewis is on the training pitch, not with us, but it's great to see him out there. Willow's the same, out the training pitch today. Another Lewis has still got a little bit of time away from that yet, but he's going in the right direction, which is important for us.
And just finally, it's on Friday. It's the first time this season, and the first time in over 18 months, I think it is, or around about that time scale anyway, that Dunfermline fans will be able to go to an away game and try and cheer on their team to victory. How big is that? How key a role could they play on Friday evening?
Oh, listen, it's fantastic. You've got your supporters. Any player worth his salt wants his own supporters to back them, you know, and there's nothing better, you know, when you've got your own supporters in a stadium. And we're delighted to have them back. We're really disappointed for them at the weekend, of course, because I say that's what we're paid to do, is to try and entertain and send them home happy on a Saturday evening. Then I'm hoping I can send them home happy on a Friday evening. You know, that's what we're trying to do. And it's fantastic to see them in away games and whatever. And there is no doubt, when you've got a support, that's what you're playing for. As I say, we're the names on the back. That's for a small period of time. They're the ones that supported the badge all their lives, and we owe them that, to give them everything they've got. And I'm hoping we can put a performance in that the supporters will be proud of.
Good to speak to you. Good luck on Friday night.
Thank you very much.